The story of Ruth, a captivating narrative found in the Old Testament of the Bible, unfolds within the pages of the Book of Ruth. This timeless tale is set against the backdrop of the period of the Judges, an era marked by moral ambiguity and social upheaval in ancient Israel. The central character, Ruth, emerges as a beacon of loyalty, resilience, and faith in the face of adversity. We're doing a video on this story because there's more to it than meets the eye. Understanding the book requires us to be aware of the many cultural differences between it and now. Israel's famine forced Elimelech, Naomi, and their family to survive in Moab. Their sons married Moabites, but one by one all the men died. Naomi was left in a desperate situation, away from home and a widow at a time when family and clan were the only support network, completely defenseless. However, her daughters-in-law, who obviously loved her deeply, were free to go home to their families and marry again. One of them, Orpah, goes home. But Ruth held on to her. Ruth followed her dead husband's mother into a strange land, for no other reason than that she couldn't bear to be parted from her. Her famous words, "Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God," are often used at weddings, but they were originally about something quite different. So Naomi and Ruth returned together to her ancestral home in Bethlehem. But they were not in a good position. As poor widows, they relied on gleaning the leftovers from the fields in order to survive. Enter Boaz. He was a wealthy kinsman of Naomi, who took an interest in the pair, and particularly in Ruth. He ordered his workers to behave well to her and made sure she had enough to eat. As an older woman, Naomi took the initiative in matchmaking and ordered Ruth. This is where things can get a little complicated, and we need to be alert to the fact that all this happened a very long time ago. We should not think that Ruth was trying to seduce him. At the same time, she was expressing the greatest possible trust in him. It would have been easy for him to have taken advantage of her and then disowned her. Fundamentally, though, the question was not whether he loved her, as we might think today. That ancient society was governed by complicated rules about inheritance, kinship, and family responsibility. Even though she was a Moabitess, Ruth was still regarded as the wife of her dead husband Mahlon. If she were to marry again, the property she had inherited went with her, and it would belong to her children, not to her new husband or to any of his other children. In Chapter 4, the dilemma is put the other way around, with the property question first. The nearest kinsman had the right to buy or redeem the property, but in doing so he also took on responsibility for Ruth. As he didn't want to do that, it fell to Boaz, and as far as we know, they all lived happily ever after. There are certainly love stories here, certainly between Ruth and Naomi, and also, probably, between Ruth and Boaz. In their case, however, there's no emotion recorded. Boaz is a decent man trying to do the right thing, caring for someone who is deeply vulnerable because he feels he ought. So a better way of thinking about the story might be to say that it's about sacrifice. Ruth sacrificed her interests to those of Naomi. Boaz sacrificed his interests to those of Ruth, and out of their actions great blessing came, as they were the ancestors of King David and of Jesus himself. Another way of looking at it is as a reminder that life isn't simple and that doing the right thing isn't always straightforward. Boaz had to offer someone else the opportunity to redeem the land, and with it Ruth, and notice that she, as a woman in a patriarchal society, had little choice in the matter, with no guarantee that the nearest kinsman redeemer would turn the opportunity down. He and Ruth were part of a network of obligations and relationships, and couldn't just follow their own inclinations. God blessed them when they acted with integrity, but things don't always work out as we wish or plan. So the book of Ruth is a very human story about human problems, but it's inspired scripture, told to point us to eternal truths. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share this video.